and this here may be tough to you. Snack cake to me, yeah, more hostess. This been overdue forever. Asked me when it was dropping, said never. Should've made you cut the feta, but I designed it Freemason Margiela.
What's goody, Shellitronnn here, the most woke, no joking. I'm back out again with a brand new video, and I'm gonna keep it a Burberry biscuit. I'm not gonna get to the game right away. I know it's been a minute. I know it's been a while since I uploaded a video. I mean, first off, I hope all of you guys watching this video, if you live in America, I know some people who actually live in Germany and other places in the world. I hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. And if you lived in Germany or whatever, I hope y'all had a good, I guess, Black Friday if y'all celebrated there. I don't know. Boxing Day, is that a Canada thing? Point is, I hope y'all had a good time in your holiday, your family, eat some good food. I mean, I know I had some. All I know is Thanksgiving for me is macaroni and cheese day, and everything else is a side to me. It's macaroni and cheese, and then the side. I know I didn't upload a video. And honestly, I did have time here and there to record a video, you know, edit it a little bit and get it up online for you guys. But I'll admit, I made the mistake of giving Battlefield a try. Now, if for all y'all watching this right now who play video games, and you're thinking to yourself, do I give Call of Duty Black Ops 4 a chance? Or do I try to play Battlefield 5 and, you know, try something different for the first time? Do not make the same mistake that I did and get Battlefield 5. Please, let's talk about the actual situation we're in right now. That game versus the Lions, losing that game was a big hit to us. Honestly, that loss against the Lions taught me everything I really know about this team this year. I can talk about the playoffs. I can talk about what we have to do to get the playoffs this year. But the real question is, what are our realistic expectations once we get to the playoffs? I can talk about the scenario, which I will, all the things we have to do to get to the playoffs and how we're going to seed in the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. But we have to ask ourselves, what is our realistic expectations for this playoff run? No matter what the situation is, we're either going to be the 5 or the 6 seed, which means we're going to be most likely facing either the Rams or the Saints in our first game of the divisional round, and that does not bode well for us at all. I mean, I don't know what to say. We're definitely not going to have home field advantage, but it's a really tough deal where our first playoff game is going to either be in the Dome or out in LA, and it's going to be rough. I'm not going to lie. The first game, if we get to the playoffs, is going to be rough. But before we get to the playoffs, we have to actually make the playoffs, and that loss to the Lions was actually very, very bad. Right now, it's sitting at 6-4, and obviously, a 6-4 record right now isn't all too terrible, but the NFC playoff hunt is extremely close for the 5 and 6 spot. Even the 4 spot with the NFC East is kind of close, but we don't really care about that because one of them has to make it. So whoever wins the NFC East is going to definitely make it. So obviously the Cowboys are #1. The Rams are #1 in the West at 10-1. The Bears are #1 in the North at 8-3. The Bears are nice. Mitchell Trubisky is actually kind of nice this year. I was actually surprised. And you know the Saints are 10-1 right now, and they're going to obviously probably be the #1 seed in the NFC, but they're definitely going to win this division. We are 6-4. The Vikings are 5-4-1. The Seahawks, who we play this week, are 5-5, and the Redskins are 6-5, and they beat us. They have one more loss than us, but they beat us. So in a tiebreaker situation, they get into the playoffs before we do. But if we lose this game to the Seahawks, I'm pretty sure we're out of the playoffs. They would go to 6-5, and we would go to 6-5. That would mean there's 2 teams who aren't divisional leaders right now who have tiebreakers over us, meaning the Redskins and the Seahawks. Also, if the Falcons win out, except for beating us, they might actually tie our record because, look, we can win our games and whatnot that aren't the Saints games, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that we can all agree on that it's not very likely that we sweep the Saints this year. I think we're all realistically hoping for a split with the Saints. Everyone wants us to sweep the Saints, but we have to be a little bit realistic here, talk about the Saints, and if we want to be really realistic, we can talk about that. I won't say it. You know what I'm thinking, and I think you know it to be true as well. I'm not going to say it. But at 6-4, we're in a really weird situation where, honestly, minus those Saints games, we're going to have to win out in order to actually make the 6th seed in the playoffs this year. And it's going to be a tough go of it because the Seahawks at 5-5 are actually not a bad team at all. I mean, looking at their schedule, they lost a tight game against the Bears early on in the season. They could have and maybe even should have beat the Rams. It was a 33-31 game, but honestly, the Seahawks were driving with, I think, 4 minutes left and made a really costly error, and they really had a very real chance at beating the Rams. Honestly, that was probably the game. I mean, the Seahawks have looked pretty decent. They won against the Lions by 14, which is kind of tough. They lost to the Chargers, who are a really good team. Their second matchup against the Rams was 31-36, so pretty similar scores. I know about divisional opponent games and whatnot, but it really doesn't matter when you're going against probably one of the best teams in the league right now. It's kind of hard to say that they're number 1 or 2. They're probably number 3 behind the Chiefs and the Saints. But those 3 teams are so far ahead of the rest of the pack in the NFL that being the 3rd best team is way better than being the 4th best team in the NFL right now. I couldn't even tell you who the 4th best team is, but they're so far behind the Rams that it's actually just not even worth mentioning right now. The Seahawks are not a bad team right now. They actually have the number 1 rush attack in the league right now. Russell Wilson's playing pretty well. I think he has, 22 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Cam has 20 and 6, but he also has 4 rushing touchdowns, and Russell has none. But that's not really passing stats. They have pretty similar completion rates. I think Russ has about 64, 66, and Cam has 68% completion rate. I think our offenses are built very similarly. We have mobile quarterbacks who can make plays for us, a pretty decent to strong run game, and a pass game that's not really built around one player, but really more about spreading the ball around, sharing the wealth. It's not just one star player out there getting all the highlight catches, getting all the touchdowns, getting all the receptions. Now, Tyler Lockett does have 7 touchdowns, and I think the next closest person has 4, and that's David Moore. And I'm going to be real with you. I have no clue who David Moore is. I don't know who that guy is. That guy sounds like a dude I had social studies with in 7th grade or something like that. I don't know who David Moore is. But the real thing here is, like Thomas Davis said in a recent interview, the team that wins is the team with the better defense. Which is ironic, but fitting that Thomas Davis Sr. says that. We need some kind of pass rush. We need some kind of run stopping. Honestly, I can say literally everything to do with the defense. I can say we need that. I don't want to list every single responsibility of the defense. We could talk about special teams a little bit. But honestly, what I want to start off with before going deeper into those things is our offense. And the biggest thing to notice here is that both Torrey Smith and it looks like Devin Funchess are both going to be out for this game, which means that a lot of our younger guys, a lot of our 3 and 4 deeper into the depth chart kind of guys are going to really have to step up against a legion of whom for the Seahawks right now, because we all know about what happened to their whole secondary. But the defense is still pretty good. They get some sacks. This defense should be something that we can work against. This game is not only going to prove just how valuable DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Jarius Wright, and all those other guys, those speedy guys on our offense are going to be. We might see a little bit more from Greg Olsen. He doesn't really have the same kind of speed. He hasn't really had crazy speed, but he doesn't really get behind the defense and get in those open pockets in the zone the way he used to do. It looks like he's kind of lost a step a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. But like I was saying, we're not just going to see how good those other guys are, which means we have no wide receiver over 6 feet, by the way. Which, if you watch my draft board videos before the season started, I was talking about how we had such small receivers. I really do like DJ Moore, and I'm glad we drafted him. But I did mention that we do not have any tall receivers on our team. We don't have any high point kind of receivers on our team. But we're kind of built for the quick pass and get a guy out in space and let them get the run after the catch, run after contact with DJ Moore. But it's not just about those guys. It's about seeing just how valuable Devin Funchess is. If our attack on offense looks a lot better without Devin Funchess in the lineup, the same way we recognize our offense being better without Torrey Smith in the lineup, that might affect the way that our team, the front office, and the coaches look at Devin Funchess in this contract year. Yes, I said contract year. No one's talking about Devin Funchess having a contract year this year, but this is the year he has to earn that next contract potentially, and we're going to see exactly who he is and what his impact is on the game, not only judging off of the games he's been in, but judging off of the game he's actually not in. How does our passing attack on offense look without our biggest target in our X receiver? Now, I will say, I never did and I never have disrespected Devin Funchess the way some of y'all have. I said he wasn't like an X receiver. I said he's a 2, maybe a very, very great 3, but a good 2 kind of receiver. I never said cut him. I never said the man threw the game versus Detroit. Now, there were some comments that suggested he threw the game for Detroit just because he used to live there. I'm kind of confused about that. I don't think he threw anything. I think he got nervous. I think he has some kind of small injury. It's kind of lame that we just heard about it after the game. Yeah, it is what it is, honestly. But this game really does boil down to the defense. I mean, I think we can all understand that our offense was doing pretty well. Cam threw for 347, 3 touchdowns, and a bad interception that wasn't really his fault. But The offense isn't what worries me. It's really this defense with no pass rush. We can't stop the run. And honestly, our secondary, we get interceptions here and there, but for the most part, we do get carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey. John Madden, take it away. So that's what my real focus is on this game. The offense is going to do the offense does, but we have to find out exactly what we're going to get from our defense. And I think this is one of those games where you have to earn your contract. I think next year we're already looking at scouting and whatnot, and our playoff hopes literally ride on this game. This game is a must-win. You're not going to the playoffs 6-5 with 2 games almost back-to-back versus the Saints later on in the season, and the Falcons, who aren't an easy give-me win. These guys are actually kind of competitive. So it's going to be a tough matchup. I'm thinking it's going to have to be a 10-point game, probably kind of low scoring. You know what? It's going to be a little bit. I think it's going to be a little bit higher scoring. I think 24. I think 24-31. 7-point game. 24-31. We win this game. We have to win this game. What are your thoughts on the game? What are your stat predictions? What are your score predictions? Let me know in the comments below. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Being told y'all I been the man. Being told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.